Hey people, hey. I mean, let y'all listen. I'm cold. It is cold. Hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello. What's going on, y'all? Hey, we are here. We are back. It is Saturday, which means it is time to be silly. Let me say hey to y'all. Hey, Jason. Hey, Nears. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Peace of Love. Hey, Watermelon Sugar. Coming to the stage. She's here. She's Watermelon Sugar. Hey, Sly Sylvia. Hey, everybody. What is going on? Shondo's in the building. Shondo's in and about the chat. Shondo, to you. Um, what's going on, y'all? So we are here for another silly Saturday. Hey, Abby. Good morning, sis. We had fun last night. Shout out to Terrence, whose birthday was yesterday. And we were over there at Terrence's having a good time, drinking and celebrating his birthday. Excuse me. Happy birthday, little bro. That was yesterday. There was so much going on this week. Good week. My godson's birthday was yesterday as well. Shoot. Shit, I had my anniversary earlier this week. So it's just been a lot. One of my one of my friends from high school, her son just crossed Kappa, and that's good. I wrote his recommendation letter, so shout out to him. So it's been a real good week, real good week. Hey Willie, I told you always gonna be Willie over here. You always gonna be crackhead Willie. I don't care. Hey Willie, what is going on? So the artist formerly known as Crackhead Willie. So I got listen, my agenda today is so packed and so lengthy, only because I've been so busy this week with work and I didn't get to do politics of it all this week. I didn't get to do run your mouth this week. And so I got so much going on, so many stories. Y'all have been sending me stories. Shout out to y'all who make sure I stay up on stuff. Some of it I already be having my eyes on, but some of it y'all hit me too, and I'll go and I'll look at it and everything. So yeah, yeah, um, it's been great, but no, I really appreciate y'all sending me stuff. Hopefully we'll get through everything, but we'll see. A lot of politics, 'cause like I said, I missed my politics of it all, and some of it I just want to put out there before um we before it gets out of the news cycle and stuff like that. So yeah. So I want to start off with a story that I saw earlier this week that has scared the living shit out of me. Do you hear me? Listen, I literally read this story, y'all. Listen, it wasn't even, I didn't even get through the full story. Just reading the headline, what's up, Jason? I was so scared. I listen. I haven't been this afraid, and I am legit. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I was legitimately afraid and scared. Like I haven't been this scared about anything I've read. Ooh, I can't remember the last time I've been this afraid. So let me read because the shit sounds like something that reads from a horror film. Um, I need to put it out so CNN and MC could talk about. Child, you know I have to put stuff out there so they could talk about it. You know how that goes. But I saw this and it sounded like something. Hey, Patty Duke, something out of a horror film. or something out of a motion picture movie. Hey, Nicole Stevens. So let me read this headline for y'all. And this ain't made up. This is real, okay? No, it's not Florida. Giant spiders expected to drop from the sky across the East Coast this spring. Let me read that again. Giant spiders expected to drop from the sky across the East Coast this spring. Listen, anybody who knows me knows I'm not, bugs don't bother me. They don't scare me. But a spider, you give it 8 legs, I don't care how small it is, no part. I can't even watch Discovery Channel when they doing stuff, or the National Geographic Channel when they doing stuff about spiders. Can't do it, won't do it. Nope. Horrible experience as a child. I'm never gonna. Nope. Nope. Let me read this to you so you can be just as frightened and fearful and stay in the house, just like I will be doing. Because the first time I see this, I'm telling you, I'm going to crawl in the fetal position and begin weeping. I don't do spiders. I could do rats. I could do snakes. I could do roaches. I could do whatever. I could do lizards. I could do all of that. Spiders is where I draw the line. Nope. Let me read this. An invasive species of spiders the size of a child's hand is expected to colonize the entire East Coast this spring by parachuting down from the sky. Researchers at the University of Georgia announced last week. Listen, just the notion that I'm walking down the street and you just got parachuting spiders the size of a small child's hand. Nope, nope, nope. Don't want no parts of it. Nope, nope, none. Why it matters. Large Joro spiders, millions of them, are expected to begin ballooning up and down the East Coast as early as May. Researchers have determined that the spider can tolerate cold weather, but are harmless to humans, and their fangs are too small to break human skin. Wait, they have fangs? I don't care if you tell me they are too small. The fact that they have them. Oh, no. No means no, and yes means no. This is the appropriate time to say no means no, and yes means no. We're not doing this. The Joro spider is native to Japan but began infiltrating the US in 2013, concentrating in the southeast and specifically Georgia, according to NPR. They fanned out across the state using their webs as tiny, terrifying parachutes to travel with the wind. Andy Davis, author of the study and a researcher at Georgia's Odom School of Ecology, tells Axios that it isn't certain how far north the spiders will travel, but they may make it as far north as DC or even Delaware. It looks like the Joro probably survive throughout most of the eastern seaboard here, which is pretty sobering, Andy Davis says. Other facts and things to know about the Joro spider. They are bright yellow, black, blue, and red, and can grow up to 3 inches. That's larger than some people's peens, okay? Hey, Sims Overdose, what's up, boo? Child, this is a mess. Listen, Charlotte done got loose and done started being fruitful and multiplying, and Charlotte got spiders falling out the air. This is what we got going on. They likely traveled across the globe on shipping containers similar to the bubonic plague. Their life cycle begins in early spring, but they get big in June and are often seen in July and August. They're named for Joroguma, a creature of Japanese folklore that can shapeshift into a woman or spider before killing its prey. See, don't want no parts of that. Mm-mm. Hey, little baby. Mm-mm. 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 Researchers say there's nothing we can do. They're coming and they're harmless. That I can't. I'm not reading no more of this. Mm-mm. 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 Spiders falling out of the sky? Girl, girl, with all of the technology that we have, y'all don't have a way to do away with spiders ballooning out of the sky, like parachuting out of the sky. This is some this is some Exodus out of the Bible, 12 plagues, children of Israel leading and stuff type shit. This is what we get. See? Y'all go and have insurrections and child. DC, according to research, you all will not be spared. DC and Delaware, it will be that as north as DC and Delaware. So you'll start to get the spiders falling out of the sky and ballooning out of the air on you as well. I'm not here for it. Mm-mm. Nope. Listen, let me tell you something. The very first time, hey Rochelle, the very first time I see one of these things, I promise you, I promise you, I am going to lock myself in the house. It's Uber Eats and DoorDash and Instacart for everything. I'm not leaving my house. We're going to just have marathon lives because I'm never leaving the house again. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. I think that's why my boss switched to everybody working remotely now. Like now we're back to completely 100% remote. So now we don't have to leave the house and now we don't have to be scared about these giant ass spiders. Listen, to me, anything over half a centimeter for a spider is giant. So you're telling me a 3-inch spider that's the size of a child's hand, that is a giant spider for me. I don't want any parts of it. And the fact that it will just be falling and parachuting out of the sky, landing on people, and you told me it has fangs. I don't want to hear nothing about you telling me, oh, but the fangs aren't that big. Oh, you don't have to worry about the fangs. It's a big 3-inch spider with fangs falling out of the sky on me. Nope. Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, ma'am. No, God. Mm-mm. Hey, Vovo. What's up, Cookie? Listen. Listen. Please understand. Please be clear. We want no parts of it. With all of the billions of dollars that y'all are just spending on all kinds of stuff, y'all worried about a war over there in Ukraine. What about the war that we have that's about to descend upon us in May? Not the series finale of Earth, right? A 3-inch damn spider float out the sky. Do you know him? Nope. Nope. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. Nope. Y'all got it. I give it to y'all. Y'all got it. It's all y'all. It's your world. Y'all, you win. Mother Nature, you win. See, whenever y'all feel like, oh, we got Mother Nature figured out. Mother Nature said, oh, that's what we're doing. You got a plan for that? Well, then, how about this? Mother Nature said, oh, y'all going outside now? Y'all think the cocoa is over? And y'all think it's safe to go outside? Oh, okay. Since you want to go outside anyway, the cocoa wasn't enough to keep you inside. Well, take these giant spiders falling out of the sky. Get some of that. Let me know how you deal with that. Listen, listen, listen. Do you know the hysteria that's going to ensue when this stuff starts happening? Like, hello, if this spider is native to Japan, why didn't y'all warn us of this, Japan? Like, y'all could have told us we over here dealing with giant spiders falling out of the sky. Y'all ain't think to warn us about this? Y'all thought it was okay. Y'all just shipped it over there to us. They just said, "Oh yeah, we just gonna let one of these conveniently creep into this, this box that we're shipping across the Pacific Ocean to America. Go ahead over there. It's all right. Through the Panama Canal or wherever it came from." Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mother, listen. You say you're about to kill a ram and use this blood, mark X. Why? Just mark an X on your door. Because we are living in the Exodus times. Like, these are the plagues that happened to Egypt when they wouldn't let the people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. White people, this is God getting y'all because y'all keep bothering us black people. And he said, let my people go, let them be free. And y'all don't want to do that. So now you get these plagues, giant spiders falling out of the sky. Get some. Hey, Jay Parrish. hmm hmm Right, we had the murder hornets, and now raining parachuting spiders. Tracy, just stay inside. Just we're just gonna stay inside. That's what we're gonna do. I just don't know what else to do. I don't know what else y'all want. What do y'all want from me? What do y'all want from me? But you know what, Sims overdose? I can handle a roach. Why? I'm from Florida, and if you are from South Florida, roaches are a part of life. Like you call the exterminator, do whatever you get, but that's just a part of just the terrain part of life. But spiders, no ma'am, no God, no parts of a spider. Listen, at my house, there was a spider that every night used to build this web that stretched from the front door to the tree in the middle of the front yard, and it would just sit there. And I had to go out the back door. I was so afraid of I had to go out the back door, but magically every morning the web and the spider was gone, all of it, no trace of it. That next night, and she had to. I used to call her Charlotte. Charlotte had to do it real quick because I'm telling you, I used to be in and out the house. Baby, you let 10 minutes go by. Baby, Charlotte got that big old web like, whoop. And I go, what? What, bitch? I'm here. And I used to be scared. I used to open the door and just go back in the house. I finally had to have a friend of mine came with a lighter and an aerosol can of something and just torched it and said, "You really afraid of this spider?" I said, "Listen, I'm not going out there." And he came and did the whole torch thing and torched the spider. But listen. I don't care what they're used to down in Brazil. I don't live in Brazil. I am not here. They're also used to in Brazil to having spiders larger than your head. They're used to that as well. And I never want to be used to that. Okay. Nope. Y'all can have all parts of the spiders. They're used to in Brazil having colonies of ants that can strip all of the meat off of a horse. You want that too? Like, if we just go to comparison to Brazil, I don't want any parts of what's going on in Brazil. None. Up here, none. Anyway, I hate that I had to scare y'all with that first story, but that's what we had going on. I don't listen. I don't know what y'all want from me, okay? This will be our Rainbow Coalition segment. Hey, Button Jessica. Hey, Boo. Good morning, my love. This will be our Rainbow Coalition segment of the of Silly Saturday today. Child, child. How did the Black Widow spider get to the seventh floor? IMC Brown. See, no, ma'am. Nope. I don't play with spiders. I don't do spiders. I don't play with them. The spider is 3 inches and has fangs. Nope. The first time I feel a spider land on me, imagine you walking out your house, minding your own business, and next thing you know, you feel on the back of your neck, boom, and it starts crawling. Baby, baby shark, do 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 do. I am going to be in an insane asylum somewhere because I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. I'm telling you now, I will lose my whole goddamn mind. Just telling you now. Y'all ain't gonna see me no more. I'm gonna be somewhere like this, rocking back and forth, like like Oprah Winfrey did on The Color Purple. It ain't worth it, Miss Silly. Don't do it, Miss Silly. It ain't worth it. That's what I'm. No more good. Cancel Christmas. Hey, Diamond Pearl Jim, my love. You can go ahead and cancel Christmas. We're not doing that. Like I'm gonna try and cut off that whole part of my body. Do you hear me? I will be feverishly trying to cut off that entire part of my body that it lands on. Can't do it. Won't do it. Nope. Anyway, so I got 3 stories that we're going to have for our Rainbow Coalition segment of the show. The last story is going to be our segue into our sugar spiking moment. So I probably, before I do the last of these 3 stories, I will probably go into our whole sugar spike segment of the episode because we can't have an episode clearly without having sugar spike. Oh, speaking of sugar spike, well, I'll talk about that when we get closer. In our first story in our Rainbow Coalition segment, in news that was news to no one, people are being stupid and overreacting to the dumbest shit on earth. Do you hear me? Like, wait, Daddy said I will end up running down the street naked, screaming and slapping myself. I'm telling you, Daddy, I'm with you. Listen, when you hear me, do you hear me? I'm with you, Daddy. I'm just gonna start ripping clothes off and screaming and flailing my arms and like just scratching it. Nope. Because then, while you're running, another one could be landing on you. Just think. Oh, dear God, no, Lord. Mm-mm, I'm staying in the house. Staying in the house. Mm-mm. Nope. Not doing it. I want to see what really be gonna do up there in DC when they start falling out of the sky, or Abby over there in North Carolina when they start falling out of the sky. What are y'all gonna do? Okay. Hey Xavier, what are y'all gonna do when they start falling out of the sky on y'all? I don't know. Anyway, in news that proves that people overreact to everything and it's just stupid. So famed singer Tevin Campbell is in the news this week because people take the smallest things and are just make it like it's just the biggest thing on earth. Now, we've known for quite some time, well, and I will say at least 20 plus years now, but But NBC, I already be in the house, so that don't affect me. NBC, I already don't leave. So y'all ain't got nothing to worry about over here. I hear you, Abby. I'm about to be like Abby. They ain't leaving. Nope, not leaving. That's why they make DoorDash and stuff. Edith, this is revelations going on. Please be clear. I'm telling you, well, it's not necessarily Revelation. This is the book of Exodus where we had the plagues. Okay, listen. Now, when Tevin was young, like first three albums, Tevin, people speculated, but it was the early 90s. You let people do what they do. You know, hey, Monk Chip, what's good, my love? When Campbell came out in the late 90s with the album that had Come Back to My World on there, that album, I remember because he had those twists. And I remember, I ain't gonna tell y'all how old I was at the time, but anyway, I remember saying, now Tevin, now girl, you was just coming on out now. Because I remember he had those twists and they look real gay. I was like, Tevin, because I guess you just gonna live in your truth. Not long after that album came out, Tevin Campbell got arrested. Why was Tevin Campbell arrested? He was arrested for um uh attempted prostitution. They said it was prostitution, but literally what was happening is they was in a bathroom at a public park, and the girls, you get in a public park, you get a bunch of us in the men's bathroom, and the things happen and the things go on. And so one of the people that was in there, they were doing a sting. It was a cop. Tevin Campbell was, arrested with the rest of them. Hey, Amber. Tevin Campbell was arrested, and that story came out. Um, and so when that story came out, it made news. This was the late 90s. I want to say this was like 98 or 99 or something like that. Yeah, solicitation, something like that, child. But it was a big story back then. I remember. Um, and so that was a big thing. And so at that point, it was kind of like, you know, that was the receipt that people needed, that okay, he does do what he do. Fine. However, that whole situation and scandal um threw him out of the loop in terms of having a music career. Because this was still the late, even though it was the late 90s, it was still the 90s, and you being an R&B singer at that time and being open and out and about who you are, if you're part of the Rainbow Coalition, was not something that was seen. You also had other artists that were rising to power, like you had Usher, who was blowing up at the time and becoming stratospheric. So Tevin Campbell was kind of ceremoniously, yeah, we don't want you and your gay kind here, pushed out of the limelight. And you had Usher and some others that were pushed into the forefront at that time. And he kind of, went away into obscurity. He went away for a while. He did an interview. This was even way back then, where somebody asked him about his sexuality, and he said, Tevin is speaking of himself in third person. He said Tevin is trisexual, meaning I'll try anything. I wasn't really mad at it because, and people look at it today, at it through today's lens, even though this was a different time. At that time, being Tevin Campbell, being who he was, it wasn't it wasn't it would not have been easy to just be like, oh, I'm gay. Yeah, that's me. So cloaking it in that, I wasn't even mad about that because it was it was a different time. So um he went into obscurity, and then he resurfaced doing Broadway and different things like that. The voice never went away. Tevin's still a very attractive young man. Listen, Tevin is still real cute. And could get it still to this day. Um, I don't know nothing about Tracy Braxton Donnie. I don't know. I don't know how that even came in, but um, so after that, um, Um, when this story came, what? Let me tell you what happened in this story. Okay, so um, where am I? Where's my article? I mean, I'm hearing that there's stuff on the that just came across my crawl saying that she died. I don't know, but that's just what all of my crawl that's going across my computer is saying. Anyway, we'll get there in a second. Let me finish my story. Um, so on Tuesday of this week, the 45-year-old R&B artist took to his Twitter account to respond to a fan's comment about him possibly being gay. Quote, my mom keep telling me Luther Vandross, Teddy Pendergrass, and Tevin Campbell were gay, end quote, wrote the fan. In response, the singer replied, he replied, Tevin is, period. Um, and then he put a rainbow flag and a smiley face emoji. And you know, he's very vocal on Twitter about the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. So people saw the fact that he put this rainbow flag and the smiley emoji as him coming out of the closet. When I don't think Tevin Campbell has been in a closet for at least 20 plus years. I mean, that whole thing, like I told y'all back in the 90s, um, kind of like outed him at that time. So anyway, let me look at this breaking news, y'all breaking it up. So, according to several sources that I see here, this is what the T, the M, and the Z has to say. They said that, come on, um, hold on. Yeah, they said she's dead at 50 from cancer. Tracy Braxton, sister of Tony Braxton, has died. TMZ has learned Tracy has been battling cancer for a year. Doing so very quietly. She lost her battle Friday, so apparently she died yesterday. We're told Tracy's sisters and mom were by her side when she passed. Tracy appeared on the family's reality show, Braxton Family Values. She was an actress best known for, quote, Sinners Wanted. She also appeared in Three's and There's a Stranger in My House and Chaw. She recorded a hit song, Last Call, that rose to number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100, 200. She also recorded Broken Things featuring her sisters, Tony, Tawanda, and Trina. Um, yeah. Tracy, yeah. I believe Tracy was she the oldest? I think she was the oldest. I can't keep up with which one is the oldest. I know Tamar is the youngest, but I think um yeah, Tracy is the old. I thought she was the oldest at least. So condolences to you know what, Danny. Danny said you got to be in to come out. You know what? I think, like I said, Danny, back in the 90s, I think he was. When that whole scandal came out at the end of the 90s, I think he was thrown out of the closet. He didn't come out, he was pushed out. Tracy is the middle sister. Tony is the oldest. Okay. She's the second oldest. Okay. Tawanda is the oldest. Okay. Okay. I don't know why I thought Tracy was the oldest. Okay. Maybe because she was the first one that got pregnant and they kicked out the group. Okay. I shouldn't be laughing to talk about this lady as she just died. Condolences to the Braxton family. I know, regardless as to what you see on that show, they are a close knit family and sisterhood. Like I'm sure that the family is devastated. Um, and so, yeah, I'm sure that they are. probably having a very difficult time with this because say what you want, they might fuss, they might argue, fight, but you can tell they are still a close family. So condolences and shout out to them. I'm sure that'll be all over your feeds today. Um, so yeah. Um, Shout out to her. But they said she really had been out of the limelight. I'm reading since about 2019, like people hadn't seen her. So yeah, I just cancer is doing yeah, doing some work. People talk about the big C being COVID. The big C is still cancer, and it is still doing its thing in people's lives all the time. So you know what? I think Xavier, I would, and I don't want to speak or speculate, but a lot of times when you have these people that are on shows like that, when they have a chance to turn the cameras off and knows that okay, we can speak candidly and be real like a real family. Sometimes, and a little time passes, it gives you a chance to mend fences and heal wounds. Um, right, I remember their niece passed. Didn't she have like a heroin overdose or something back in 2019 or something like that? It might have been around that time, but I remember hearing about that either 2018 or 2019. Their niece or something passed. So, um, but what you would hope is that, like you said, if all of her sisters and her mom was right there by her side, that that lets you know that regardless as to what we may see in the public, privately they are still, a close family. And so when needed, and that's how families are. Like a lot of times, like I'll have a very large family. Um, um, I have a family that is really, really big, and people see us in public, and a lot of times we may fuss, fight, and argue. But at the end of the day, when shit goes down, our family does this, whoop, and we galvanize and they rally around. We rally around each other. And when you have a large family, you grew up really close, even though time and distance comes, when it's time to do what you do as a family, those things that you were rooted in and foundationally built upon, the family bonds and ties are still right. It's kind of like, you have some really close friends that you were friends with, very, very close friends with, and you may not talk to them for like a year or so. You pick up the phone or y'all see each other and it act like no time has passed. That's even that's amplified, even when you're talking about close family members. So yeah, Tracy was the one who was kind of always mad because they kicked her out the group because she got pregnant or whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, that's the news of the day. Um, so yeah, that's what happened with Tevin. If I'm Tevin, I'm not bothered by none of it. Y'all got me in the news. All right, appreciate you. Please go listen to my Tevin Campbell when they had the Can We Talk challenge that went all over TikTok and Twitter and Instagram where people were cracking notes and trying so hard to sing that man's song and couldn't really do it. Oh, child. Remember that Can We Talk challenge? Man, I was like, girl, you need to let that go. You really need to let that go. Um, but you know what? I do sometimes love when they have these challenges. So you can go back and remember the greatness of some of these vocalists. Like remember when they had the one with Deborah Cox, the How Did We Get Here? I think challenge. I think they did that one for the ladies, and then they had this one for the men. I hated when they had the Can We Talk challenge, and there were ladies that were doing it like, okay, the point is not for a female to do it when female voices are now you have some female contraltos that have very deep voices, but not for the most part, most female voices are naturally high. So it's not that big of a challenge. The challenge in the Can We Talk challenge is just the range. The fact that Tevin was singing in the freaking stratospheres, full voice and everything, and like with the male voice that's usually husky and deep and heavy, it is hard to get up there in the stratosphere unless you're a countertenor, or a real verse tenor. So I was invested in Japan or China with porn or thrown out. That's okay. Wait, who got arrested for porn? I don't remember that. Maybe you might be right, IMC Brian. I just don't remember that. You know what, Xavier? That's what pisses me off about the Can We Talk challenge too. They was doing too much because a lot of people was doing all of these runs and everything. And to me, the runs, when people start to do runs, you learn this, when you really study singing. A lot of people will start to do runs because either they're running out of air or the pitches might be getting off a little bit. And so the runs can kind of hide and or mask the fact that you ain't hitting it. But the part that makes it hard is it ain't a lot of runs in the part that he was doing. It's just stratospheric singing, belting it out, full voice, and so it allows you to hear the tone of the voice, the pitch, all of that stuff. Breath control is so difficult, and so when you have these people doing all these runs or whatever. I think to me the best one was probably Jonathan McReynolds. He sang the hell out of this, so I ain't gonna lie. Jonathan McReynolds is the best one. But I mean, nothing is gonna take the place of the original. The original I thought was the best. No, I don't negate that. Xavier, there are some husky female voices that are naturally contraltos and so forth. So yeah. Anyway, um, oh, we were in our Rainbow Coalition segment. We had breaking news. We had to break the news about the Tracy Braxton. Like I said, condolences to the Braxton families. I'm sure that'll be all over the feeds. I'm always a fan of when celebrities or people with notoriety die. Hey, Tabitha. I'm always a fan of private ceremonies. I rather before there's the public ceremony. Like I think to me, Michael Jackson's family did it right. They had their own private ceremony and funeral where that allowed them to emote privately and be a family and go back to that close knit small family unit where they could really just love on each other as a family, um, and so forth. But then after that, then they had the big public one where they allowed the public to be in there. And I still remember the Michael Jackson funeral, and I remember I said, "Y'all can say what y'all want to." I remember vividly saying that um, Michael Jackson's family had to remind the world, "Oh, he's black. This is the black," because that whole funeral was real black. It was real black. I was like, sometimes when artists become real big and stratospheric, when white culture will think that they belong to them, and sometimes they have to be reminded that nah, this our people. This there. I don't care how much they might have let you believe it. This is still on us. This is our people, and we gonna send them home the right way. I think Whitney had a traditional church funeral. Whitney did too. Whitney, Sissy was like, we doing this. I mean, outside of alleged menstrual fluid leaking down ex Stina's legs as she was trying to sing at the funeral, that was a pretty decent funeral as well. What is all these messages really be and Evie got going on knowing that I am live? God, Lord, why did what, blame really be an Evie for that? Because they won't leave me alone. um, Hate Retha had a good funeral. Hey, listen, Hate Retha had whole wardrobe changes as a dead person. Okay, I tell you, Hate Retha said, honey, when I go out, I will have beautiful gowns, beautiful gowns. Baby, y'all saw Hate Retha had whole wardrobe changes. Hey Retha said, "This is what I have on the viewing of this day. This is what I have on the viewing the next day. This is what I'll be wearing at at the funeral. Please understand, beautiful gowns." Listen, I love Hate Retha. Hate Retha. Listen, why do I call her Hate Retha? I call her Hate Retha because that comes from um Got to Be Real. I mean, if you've never seen Got to Be Real on YouTube, you missed out. They're like, what? Got to Be Real came out, what, about 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah. No, not 2 or 3 years ago, about 10, 11 years ago. No, maybe not that long. Maybe about 8 years ago. Maybe about 8 years ago. Anyway, Aretha do hate people. What? The hate and shade on Hate Retha, listen. Hate Retha did not fuck off. She meant the shade that she threw. She was intentional and deliberate in her shade. Okay, she didn't fuck off. Child, child, hate Rita. Listen, I love how Got to Be Real. You always have Dion Ward talk about listen, hate Rita. Because the girl who did Got to Be Real did all of the voices except for I think Dion Ward's voice. Dion Ward's voice was the only voice she could do. And there was the guy that used to do Dion Ward's voice, and he had a real deep husky voice. Be like, listen, hey Rita. Chat. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know. I wonder what they're gonna do for funeral arrangements. I mean, I think Tracy Braxton is a celebrity. Is she the celebrity of this of the level where you would have as Ebby and Really Be continues to flood my text messages with texts. I love y'all too. And they know that I go live from my phone. So the fact that they're sending me messages, now they're trolling me. They're really trolling me. You know, Really Be will troll me and send me messages one letter at a time if I'm live sometimes. That's what she does. They did have good music on Got to Be Real. Sims Overdose. Got to Be Real was good. I need Patty LaHale to come back out and do another series because Got to Be Real was so good. It was a oneer and doneer. It was so good. And it had so many other channels that tried to emulate what got Patty LaHale was the first one. And the other ones came shortly after and tried to emulate what Patty LaHale was doing, but Patty LaHale is still the goat with that. She did the best. Calling the calling the repast for Michael's funeral party. Right, it was not a party, it was a repast. Shut up. But they know no better. They did not know no better. Child, I still remember them not letting Bobby Brown in Whitney Houston's funeral. I remember that. I was like, ooh. But they let Ray J in, child. Yeah. Girl. Girl. I, and see, they know I'm OCD. And uh, I'm OCD. Like I'm one of those OCD people. Like I don't like having messages on my phone screen or anything. So I have to check it. They know. Oh God, I can't stand that. I'm gonna call Really Be and cuss her out. I ain't paying y'all no mind. If you Really Be, I am. I really am. Because I don't want to be left out either. They might be saying something good and important, and then they doing that while I'm like, oh bastards. Oh bastards. Anyway. What was I? Oh, we're in a list. I only got one story. Tracy Braxton News kind of broke it up and stopped me. So our second story in the Rainbow Coalition segment of our show today. Child. You said he was so loving and her secretary. Child. Child. That's what they said. I mean, she is old enough to be your mama, Ray J. I mean, like, you ain't heard old people give you worms. I mean, but I guess. Quite as it's kept, Whitney Houston was born the same year my mama was born. So I'm just saying. So clearly she was old enough to be my mama. I know whose mom she wasn't old enough to be. A certain someone who's texting my phone. God. She gonna kill me, y'all. She is gonna kill me. I still love you, really, B. I still love you. I still love you. I watched she start trolling my phone. Anyway, so I need something because I need a candy or something because I know I'm gonna spike out. You know what? I'm gonna do this without candy. Hey, quintessential, my love, and I'm gonna try not to have a whole sugar spike this moment. Let's talk about the Jussie Smollett situation. And the approach that I come into the Jussie Smollett situation is a little different. They're trolling me, y'all. They're texting me now on purpose. I can't stand them. Oh, I can't stand them. Anyway, no, Tracy Braxton did. Well, according to everything that I saw, everybody's reporting that she did pass yesterday. We just reported that about 5 minutes ago, quintessential. So yes. Now, let me say this: the whole Jussie Smollett trial, when you get to it, is sickening. It's disgusting. It's egregious. And there are so many people, especially Black people, that are on the wrong side of this because they're looking at it from the wrong angle. And I'm gonna say that the lights and the cameras are distracting them from something that is happening in this case that could have lasting implications. What we really have going on in the Jussie Smollett situation is double jeopardy. That's really what we have. Kim Fox, the state attorney for Cook County, Chicago, put a op-ed in the Chicago Sun yesterday that I read in its entirety, where she basically said this is a mischaracterization of justice. Like, this is not. Let's go through the timeline, and we're going to start after all of the stuff because we're not going to even go to the fact that the police commissioner at the time violated all kinds of rules and laws of criminal justice ethics by unsheathing and unveiling intimate details of an open case to the public and went on freaking Good Morning America while you have an open case. We ain't gonna even go there. But um Kim Fox took the case, took everything into consideration, and she had a plea with Tevin. I'm saying Tevin God, with Jussie, where he was supposed to do community service and pay a $10,000 fine, which meant that he didn't necessarily have to pay it because he had already paid a $10,000 or $10,000 bail or bond, and so he forfeited that bail or bond so that it would satisfy the $10,000 bond, and he would do community service, and that was going to be it. Why? Because if it's simply a case of somebody, if we go with worst case scenario, somebody lying about something that happened or falsely a false police report or whatnot, that is a misdemeanor. And this is someone who is a first time offender, okay, and so forth. So the point is, you had your lawyers go to the state attorney's office, y'all worked out a deal. That's fine. Here's your $10,000. I paid y'all. I'm about to go do my community service and get that out the way. And we good. Case closed. State attorney did what she was supposed to do. She has that leeway. You then had a retired judge who has nothing to do, nothing to do with this. See, my problem is people are looking at this second trial, negating that there was already pretty much a deal done, adjudication made, and he was satisfying that. The state attorney did all of it with the lawyers. It's done. You then had somebody that said, "Oh, I don't like what this beautiful black queen, the decision that she made. I don't like what she did. So even though this case is closed, I'm going to have it picked back up. And so since I'm a white retired judge, and I don't like the way this is making the city of Chicago look, because I have the Chicago Police Department in my back pocket and telling me to pick this case back up, because the Chicago Police Commissioner at the time, who was ceremoniously removed from office not long after, or voted out or whatever, was no longer there, um and so forth. It's like, how do we get here? Abby is talking about perjury and all of that. There's no point in even talking about perjury. There shouldn't even be a case of perjury. This shouldn't even been in a court of law. This shouldn't even be. People talking about, oh, perjury, and look at the evidence, and look at how he like. We should not be here. See, that's what I'm saying. People are looking at the bright lights and smoking. This is not what happened here. And please be clear, the adjudication that the judge made was even indication that we shouldn't be here, and that we're here for something that's clearly a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. That is if we take into, that's leaving out, I should say, the fact that we already had the state attorney as the lead prosecutor on this say, hey, nothing to see here. Yep, even if it was a hoax or whatever it was, you know what? You paid your fine. You did you do your community service hours. That's the deal. We done with it. The Chicago Police Union had people go line the pockets of a retired judge. That judge then went and requested that the judge that was to sign off on this go pick the case back up and and assign a special prosecutor on a case that, for all intents and purposes, we've adjudicated. What are we talking about here? We're talking about double jeopardy. Both. What are we talking about? If you all feel like, oh, he got what he deserved, I want y'all to have this same energy the next time you have a case and it's decided in your favor, and then someone picks that case, says, well, I don't like that that was decided, I don't like that, and this ain't, we ain't talk about no appeal process. See, this is not an appeal. This isn't, oh, the state is appealing or da 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 da, because the state went along with the defense and came up with the deal. This is people who had nothing to do with this having an axe to grind because they had money that they were being funneled by the police union, because the police union did not want to be embarrassed. That's why I say we're looking at the smoke and mirrors of all of this. But the real thing about it, that's why Kim Fox put out that 2-page op-ed saying this is a mischaracterization of justice. It's a miscarriage of justice. What are we doing here? We are having double jeopardy. Y'all are giving all of this energy for something that happened that, listen, they spent, when they reopened a closed case, hired special prosecutors, had to go through whole court cases. They spent millions of dollars on this. Please be clear. They spent millions of taxpayer dollars on a case that was already done with and closed, on a case that is of no consequence to anything or anybody. What are we doing? That's the case of double jeopardy. That is clearly on a case that is a clear case of white. I'm gonna just say it like it is. Law enforcement and some white people in the city of Chicago not wanting to be embarrassed. Pure and simple. And so now what we have is, see y'all looking at the small picture. The big picture is this. Now we have precedent. So now, and what Kim Fox was saying in her op-ed that she did, mind you, she's still the state attorney for Cook County. She's got reelected, but um, is that she's not the only one. This has been happening in several other areas where you have black women that are state attorney. Abby? What's my girl in Baltimore? Her name starts with an M. That was the state attorney there. I can't think of this woman. Not Abby. Really be. What's the lady name in Baltimore? Oh, it starts with an M. I can't think of this lady name. Who's the state attorney? Oh, I can't remember her name. It'll come to me. Um, right, really be. They reached a deal that both sides agreed to. That Jesse was in the process of satisfying. He had already satisfied the fine. He also had already set up Mosby. Thank you, Mosby. Couldn't remember her name. We had a similar situation with that where people are mad that this black woman, as the elected state attorney in that area, decided on what was going to happen. She has the right and the leeway to go whichever way she wants to go with it. And when she makes that decision, now you got people, and now you got, let's be honest, when you got some men and some law enforcement that want to now remove and use her right as the state attorney, or usurp her authority as the state attorney, and say, yeah, I don't really like what you did, and I'm gonna reopen this case that we already have, closed the door on. This is I want you to tell me, listen, when your defense attorney goes and and brokers you a deal that you don't get no jail time, no nothing, and everything is good, and now you come back and tell me, oh, by the way, even though, yeah, we told you that was good, but now, yeah, we just gonna assign a special prosecutor, spend millions of dollars, and reopen this case just because we feel embarrassed and we just want the salaciousness of all of this. That's what this is about: camera time and salaciousness, and removing the rights and authority of this black woman as the state attorney for Cook County in the great state of Illinois, a blue state as well. See, that's what I mean when I tell y'all. Um, no, they are going to appeal it, but my point is this: why? What the point that I'm making, Ebby, is this: we cannot continue to have miscarriages of justice and then say, oh, well, they did you wrong. Well, just appeal it to, the state Supreme Court. Oh, just appeal it. We should not. Why can't we do the right thing the first time? And see, what's happening is, y'all know I say this on the politics of it all the time. These people around the country use circumstances and situations as a blueprint for how they can operate. I'm just telling you. See, it's easy to look from afar and say, oh, well, dot, 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 dot. But then when you have the same practice with another situation that you think is important or that you think is worthy, and they do the same thing, now everybody's going to be ready to kick and scream from the rooftops when there was the opportunity to make sure that the right thing was done the first time, or to scream holy hell when it was handled inappropriately the first time. They spent more. Listen, people are saying, and I wish Quintessential was in here, but there are some reports that they may have spent more money on this trial than they did on the Laquan McDonald trial. And Laquan McDonald was murdered by Chicago police officers, and he's about to get out of jail. You got this judge trying to throw the book at a situation where you simply had somebody who did nothing. If he, on the worst side, he lied about this. On the other side of the spectrum, he was right and he was innocent. Be that as it may, whichever side you're on, none of it is deserves like the amount of criminal justice time, effort, and energy that is being put on it. They were more heavy handed on this than they were with fucking Kim Potter, who killed a man and didn't even try to do anything about killing him. Let him sit there, bleed out, and die. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Get it together. Hey, it's me, D. Hey, what's going on? I mean, my thing about it is, isn't now, I'm not an expert on criminal justice, but last time I checked, in these yet to be United States of America, we don't do double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is illegal. If this ain't double jeopardy, please tell me what double jeopardy is. When I look, every time I see the Jussie Smollett case, I get sickened because what this is the is people. I mean, this is taking. I'm not. You know how some people say taking a sledgehammer to kill a gnat? No, this is pushing down a whole building to kill a gnat. Like, what is happening? Like, really, what is happening here? He paid the fine. He did a portion of the community service and then was stopped because they told him we are going to reopen because the retired judge went and talked to the sitting judge and said, "Oh, I need you to go reopen this case and hire a special prosecutor." After he was paid by Chicago police union and some other cronies down there to the Cook County and Chicago and the Chicago City Hall and all of that stuff. Please don't get me started. Y'all spending all of this money on. See, I was about to go down a road. Well, I was about to go down. I was about to say y'all spending all this money on Jesse, but y'all ain't spend no money on Lori Lightfoot's hairline. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna say that. Nope. We ain't doing that today. Nope. I'm not gonna talk about Mayor Lightfoot's hairline. I'm not gonna do that. Nope. A mess. Just a goddamn mess. That's what I'm saying, Danny. You got a whole thing of double jeopardy, but then we got people screaming, "Oh, what about? I feel like he perjured himself in the case, and this happened in the trial, and we saw this evidence. We shouldn't even be having a trial. We shouldn't even be here. We've already did." Okay, okay. I just want y'all to know, hey, Miss Ray X, I just want y'all to know. I just want y'all to know, just like you say all the time, Abby, you're wrong and you're entitled to your wrong opinion. Thank you. It's okay, Abby. You've been wrong many times, and you're entitled to your wrong opinion. You're just wrong. And that's okay. We still love you. You're just wrong. Anyway, but I want y'all to have this same energy the next time y'all see something like this happening. Y'all be like, oh, that's a miscarriage of justice. Y'all over here. Whatever. Whatever. Excuse me. I see what's going on. I see what's happening in this situation, and it's disheartening. But no. We're here right now because after the state attorney, see, that's the smoke and mirrors that I'm talking about, Tabitha. Whether or not he lied from the get is a that's a moot point at this point. When if he lied from the beginning and the state attorney in one Miss Kim Fox says, gets with his lawyers, says, you know what, at best this is maybe a misdemeanor. You have no priors, you have no criminal history. False police report, you know what, $10,000 fine, do this community service. We got a whole lot of other stuff in the great city of Chicago that I need to be worried about prosecuting. This ain't a big deal. And we're gonna move on. That happened. The fine was paid. He had already did part of the community service and was continuing to do it. And then money was paid. Retired white judge comes and tells the other judge, can you pick this back up for me? Do me a solid. The case was reopened. What are we talking about? I mean, child, I don't, this is double jeopardy. And last time I checked, if we start allowing judges and courthouses all over America to reopen cases that have already been adjudicated and cases that have already been decided, then we're going to go down a slippery slope. We're going to, that whole trial that they spent millions of dollars on, that is a misdemeanor at best. They spent, I'm telling you, and it's going to come out, but there are sources right now that they're saying they spent more money. They spent millions of dollars on this case. They spent more money on this case than they did on Laquan, on the trial for the murderer of Laquan McDonald. Y'all got all of this shit going on in Cook County, but y'all got energy for a misdemeanor for something that doesn't matter. See, that's the thing that I'm thinking people are missing. People are looking at the trial as if, oh, that is the first. We shouldn't even be having a trial. They took they had the special prosecutor. See, here's what the special prosecutor did. They had the special prosecutor go and open up the books of what Kim Fox and the state attorney's office did and said, I don't like what they did. I don't think they handled this the right way. Regardless of whether you think she handled it the right way or you like what she did, that is her right and her authority as the elected state attorney for Cook County. You don't then get to come back and say, well, since I don't like that, we just gonna reopen this case and re-adjudicate this whole case and spend millions of taxpayer dollars. Taxpayers' dollars of the same taxpayers that elected Kim Fox to be where she is to make these decisions. So him being innocent or guilty is a moot point. The point that I'm making is there was never supposed to be a trial. There was never supposed to be a trial here. And we're in the business of double jeopardy. I haven't even listened. See, I'm trying not to add on the fact that I know this has so much to do with the fact that he's a black man, and so much to do with the added fact that not only is he a black man, he's a black man that's part of the LGBTQIA plus coalition. The fact that the police force and the police commissioners felt like Kim Fox embarrassed them by saying, I'm not taking this to trial. After you had the police commissioner go on freaking Good Morning America giving intimate details of an open case. Kim Fox is still in office. She was reelected. She's still in office. And see, Abby, that's what I'm saying. Your point that you're making about Jesse being wrong has nothing to do with this. Even if you feel like that, Jesse was doing and paying the consequence of his wrongness when he paid the fine and was doing a community service. So you saying Jesse was wrong in all of this doesn't even make sense, because even if you feel that way, he was doing what he was supposed to do to make up or as a consequence of his wrongdoing. So that's why I'm saying this is not right or wrong here. This is a complete and utter shit show. And what we have going on here, I just told y'all we had a similar situation with Mosby over there in Baltimore, and there are other cases that's happening around the country where you have a lot of times, and we've seen a lot of cases where it's a black female state attorney in that area or district attorney, or you may have a liberal state attorney or district attorney, and they will make deals or they'll make whatever decision that they're going to make, and then somebody says, "Nah, I don't like that." I'm just saying it. This is wrong on so many levels. If I live in the great county of Cook County in the great state of Illinois, I am screaming holy hell that you have spent millions of my taxpayer dollars for this bullshit. No, you know what's going to end up happening? Now they are going to appeal it, but the problem is with it just being 150 days and the wheels of justice often turning very slowly, he might serve out that whole time before he even gets to have an appeal. So, like, it's it's stupid. It's just really stupid. This is, and I think that what's going to go unnoticed is this the fact that this is double jeopardy because people haven't been following very closely. People haven't been following very closely. I um I definitely don't believe that all of it is all of what Jesse said is a lie. I absolutely don't. I feel like the now, if we really want to go to the merits of the original thing, I also feel like African boys ain't in their hands ain't clean either. Something is it's something to that. But that is not here or there at this point. But whatever. You know. Anyway, I think I got through that story without having a sugar spike. And then you got ass clowns like 50 Cent. Um, listen, you got ass clowns like 50 Cent, um, who, of course, like a whole lot of other people, going on, going about trolling the young man, who are just ill-informed and ignorant of the intimate details of what's going on anyway, but they're just looking at headlines and the salaciousness of it all. Um, Tabitha, to answer your questions, people have taken this to the nth degree. His family has stated that he's received death threats. Law enforcement, I told you see, the part that's getting lost in this is that law enforcement feels like they've been embarrassed in all of this. And so they have an axe to grind as well. And so his attorneys are fearful that him being, gay and a celebrity over in county, and then you got law enforcement that don't see it for you either. Something could happen, and they looking to the side like, "Oh, I know." You see what I'm saying? Like, and if you in the county and they know your people got money, they could be like, either you have so and so put such and such on my commissary, or bitch, I'm gonna stab you tonight. All kinds of stuff. And then you got, COs and people in law enforcement that's looking like, that's your problem, not mine. Exactly, Patty Duke. That is exactly what I'm saying. And we're talking about actual crimes here, not misdemeanor. It's just a mess. Just a damn mess. Just a goddamn mess. This is all just a damn mess. So it's a mess. I feel like I said, this was not, we're not even supposed to be talking about this right now. This is supposed to be over a long time ago, but yet and still, here we are because they want to make examples. Just a mess. Continuing with my Rainbow Coalition segment, we had a little good news this week. Um, The state of Texas lost their appeal over the investigation of a transgender teen's family. Let me read this for you. A Texas court on Wednesday tossed out the state's appeal of an order preventing child welfare officials from investigating the parents of a transgender teenager over gender confirming care the youth received. The Texas Third Court of Appeals dismissed Republican Attorney General Ken Paxton's appeal of the temporary order of a judge issued last week halting the investigation by the Department of Family and Protective Services into the parents of the 16-year-old girl. The court ruled that the judge's temporary order was not appealable. The parents sued over the investigation, and Republican Governor Hot Wheels, Governor Greg Abbott, order that officials look into reports of such treatments as abuse. The lawsuit marked the first report of parents being investigated following Abbott's directive and an earlier non-binding legal opinion by Paxton labeling certain gender-confirming treatments as child abuse. If y'all remember, we reported on this. I believe it was last week we reported on it, either last week or week before. We reported on this, and so this is the update. Um, Paxton on Wednesday also filed a challenge in federal court to guidance that President Joe Biden's administration issued in response to the Texas governor's directive. The the appeals court's decision clears the way for the judge to hold a hearing on whether to issue a broader temporary order blocking enforcement of Abbott's directive. An attorney for the parents said at a court hearing last week that he heard of at least two other families facing DFPS abuse investigations for gender confirming care. A Dallas area family said the department is investigating them. The 19th, a nonprofit news organization reported Wednesday. Texas Children's Hospital has announced it will stop providing hormone therapies for transgender youth because of the governor's orders. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the family by the ACLU and Lambda Legal. The groups also represent a clinical psychologist who has said the governor's directive is forcing her to choose between reporting clients to the state or losing her license and other penalties. The ACLU urged courts to halt the quote egregious government overreach end quote of the investigations. Um, The ACLU also said, quote, this crisis in Texas is continuing every day with state leaders weaponizing the Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate families, invade their privacy, and trample on the rights of parents simply for providing the best possible health care for the kids under guidance of doctors and medical best practices. And it goes on and on and on. But that's basically the whole article. But my point is, this is a update. So if you remember, I really think it was last week, but it might have been a week before last, where we reported about Governor Abbott, Governor Hot Wheels having this directive where now, if it's if you cannot give hormone treatments or therapy to trans teenagers or whatnot, and telling child psychologists and so forth that they had to report to the state whether or not this was happening or lose their license and stuff like that. So all kinds of egregious. It's just a full-on assault on LGBTQ youth in the state of Texas. And so the judge has decided that, yeah, there's a temporary hold and injunction on that directive. Now, if you remember, the family in question, the mother actually works for the Department of Families and Protective Services, the the agencies whose job it is to go and determine whether or not this child abuse is happening. And yeah, so it's a full um this is full on assault on LGBTQ youth. But that is a um good update. It's not over yet. We still got more. There's still more fight in that, but it's just a full on. We talked about how in Texas they've removed all mental health resources from schools and public libraries for youth. As a matter of fact, I was told by one of my friends who's an assistant principal in um in Texas that on their they have to block websites or searches about LGBTQ and other about LGBTQ and other thing. They have to literally block it if you're on the internet at the school. They literally have to block those searches and websites and stuff like that. Or mental resources for them, or websites of um organizations and stuff like that that are resources for LGBTQIA youth. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. This is happening. This is happening because we don't want to help children because teenagers don't need help. No, we don't want to do it. Just a mess. Just a goddamn mess. But that's a good update. I wanted to give y'all that update. And now we will have our sugar spike moment. Oh, yes. It is that time for sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spikes, sugar spikes, sugar spikes, sugar spikes. Yes, 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 yes. It is time for a sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike, sugar spike. Oh yes. You know what I think about when I when I read that Texas law, I think about this right here. I hate it here. I wanna go home. I don't know why I even have that in here. But I think about that. I hate it here. I wanna go home. That's what I think about when I think about the Texas and what they got going on over there. Child, let me go. Speaking of which, let me go get me some um piece of candy. So I'm gonna spike out over here. Child, child. What are we snacking on? We are snacking on the purple pack. The purple pack, I think, is still my favorite pack. There's a yellow pack that I like as well, but my go-to is always purple. The purple pack is my go-to. If you tell me that you literally still eat the red original pack of Skittles, I don't think we can be friends. Like nobody eats the red pack, the original Skittles pack. Like nobody eats that. Like it's so nasty. Like I don't even like the flavors in the original pack. Okay, mm-mm, Xavier, we can't be friends. Nobody likes the original red pack of Skittles. Like you gotta have a different pack. The red pack? Nobody. That's just like saying you eat the original pack of Starburst. Like really? Chad. Or Ebby. That's just like saying you only drink the original Red Bull. Like you don't have the watermelon or the yellow tropical one or the I don't really like the dragon fruit Red Bull. I don't really like that one good. The peach one is good. I like the peach one, but the goat is watermelon. That red one, that's the best one. But chat, I mean, it's Skittles. The red pack is sweet. What are we talking about? It's Skittles. It's supposed to be sweet. It's the whole point. Mmm. Mmm. All right. Well, since we're here, let me go to you don't mess with perfection. Mm-mm. That red pack is not perfection. Let's just be clear. Mm-mm. Not a purple pack. If you want to say that's perfection, I'm with you. I can go with that. The red pack, not so much. Anyway, so for our sugar spike moment today, in the great District of Columbia, although The citizens and constituents in the District of Columbia voted to voted how they wanted. Congress said, "Fuck how you feel and fuck how you vote. We gon' do this because y'all in the state and we don't give a shit about y'all." Let me read this story. A GP-backed ban on weed sales in Washington, D.C. was preserved in a sprawling government funding bill passed by Congress on Thursday, despite opposition from advocates who say that the provision overrides the will of the district's residents years after they voted to legalize marijuana. The Harris Rider, a provision barring the legalization of recreational marijuana sales in the nation's capital, named after its chief proponent, Representative Andy Harris, Republican of Maryland, sailed through the Senate late Thursday, a day after passing the House, as part of a larger $1.5 trillion spending omnibus package that to fund the government through the fiscal year of 2022. Now, wait a minute. Before I go even further, wait a minute. Because I needed, because I felt a spike happening. This is my sugar spike for people like Jason and Tanya LaFleur's daughter and stuff. So wait a minute. Y'all barely, and I do mean barely, every time we get to the debt ceiling or whatever, approve spending bills and packages to fund the government time and time again, but y'all managed to have the energy to slide in there a provision that says, let's just make sure the people in DC can't buy no weed because that's what we care about. We care about, damn the fact that national parks and, people that are government employees all over the fruited plains could, are on pins and needles about whether or not they're going to get, paychecks at points in time. Y'all got energy to be worried about making sure that the people in the District of Columbia can't buy weed, even though they voted for it. Now, here's what the weak puss ass Dems have to say about it. Get to their part of it. Congressional Dems have pushed to do away with the provision, opting not to include the rider in the government funding bill unveiled by appropriators in both chambers last year. But negotiators say the rider was reinstalled in appropriations after sharp opposition from Republicans. Quote, quote, we don't like the fact that it's there, but it's a choice. It was a choice between providing DC and the American people with funding for the big priorities and still having them and not having them. Senator Chris Van Hollen, Democrat of Maryland, chair of the Appropriations Subcommittee on Financial Services and General Government, told The Hill ahead of the vote on Thursday. Quote, Republicans were the ones who insisted they were ready to shut down the government, said Van Hollen, whose panel handles DC appropriations. Now listen, it goes on and on and on about who was right, who was wrong, and what this means. Listen, this just proves my point. The gutless, spineless Dems, you can't even get the Republicans, mind you, you have a majority in both the House and the Senate. But that's a whole nother thing. You can't even get a bill passed that would simply enact something that the citizens of DC voted on. It ain't like this is something revolutionary. It ain't like they coming up with something out of the air. The voters in the District of Columbia voted for this. They said, we want this. But yet, you let people who don't live in the District of Columbia because they reside in other states, okay, make wholesale decisions on what the citizenry in the District of Columbia can do. Right, shut this bitch down. If it's between shutting the government down and we go ahead and shut this bitch down. I mean, hell, the weed gonna help us cope anyway. Shit, I got to deal with fucking I got to deal with fucking spiders falling out the sky. I got to deal with the cocoa. I got to deal with goddamn all kinds of shit. I got to deal with going to fucking Bank of America to withdraw money out my own goddamn account and possibly getting killed. And you telling me I can't have no weed? Shut this bitch down and let me have my weed. What are we talking about? Shut this bitch down and let me have my weed. We'll see who breaks first. I guarantee you they'll break before the weed smokers break. I'm just saying. Hell, we got to deal with $5, $6, $7 gas prices. Hell, we need weed to cope without blowing not our brains out, but y'all brains out. But yet y'all don't want another insurrection, but y'all don't want to give people their weed. Okay, okay. Hmm. I'm just saying. A mess. That was my sugar spike moment for Jason. That was your sugar spike moment, Jason. I just wanted to let you know what's going on. We do have a good portion of the sugar spike segment, but I'm gonna save that one for the end. So, ladies, this attack that they have on your bodies has not stopped. So, in the great state of Missouri, the show me state, said, "Oh, you want me to show you? Okay, I can show you better than I can tell you." That's what the Republicans in the great state of Missouri said. No, I'm from the show me state, and I can show you better than I can tell you. Missouri has a proposed law that's making its way through their chambers down there to the Capitol building that y'all need to hear about. Okay, let me read this for y'all. A Missouri lawmaker, a woman, yes, she's a woman. A Missouri lawmaker wants her state to follow in Texas's footsteps and outlaw almost all abortions through the use of a citizen enforced ban. That ain't the story, y'all. Hold your horses. Hold on. But Republican Mary Elizabeth Coleman hopes to take the Texas framework even further, literally outside the borders of her state. Since September, Texas has stopped nearly all legal abortions after roughly 6 weeks gestation by deputizing individuals to sue anyone who performs the procedure or aids and abets anyone seeking one. Coleman's proposed legislation would not only allow citizens to sue anyone who performs an abortion for a Missouri resident, but anyone who helps or even attempts to help a Missouri resident seek an abortion in or out of the state. Let me say that again. The Missouri law would be coming for people outside of the state. So if somebody lives in Missouri and they decided they want to go across the Missouri state lines to another state and get themselves an abortion, now she wants a law that says you can sue those people. This what y'all got going on. This what y'all got going on. What do y'all want me to do? What do y'all want me to do with that? So it ain't good enough that you want this in your state, but now you're saying, and you can't go and do it in another state. Nope. Nope. We ain't having it. Basically saying, or you want to get an abortion, or you just gotta reroute yourself and move and have a whole new um residence in a whole nother state. Hey Yana. It's okay, Yana. You good. You know you over here. You one of my day ones. You good. Child. Now let me finish reading. Just a mess. While this could be considered a step forward in the development of citizen enforced rights abridging laws, historically, it looks like a giant step backwards. The most notorious corollary are the fugitive slave laws, which required the recapture and return of enslaved people who made it to free states and put anti slavery Northerners at risk of arrest, fueling resentments that led to the Civil War. So, what they're saying is, y'all going and saying, oh, y'all need to go find those evil people that's doing those abortions. They might be on the abortion underground railroad because now we got an abortion underground railroad now. Now we got to reopen the underground railroad just for the purpose of allowing women to have control of their own bodies. Make that make sense. And now you got people that you have deputized to say, yeah, if they travel to your state, let us know. Because when they come back, we gonna get them. Like, what is happening? I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. What are we living in? What are we living in? That's why I get so incensed about the Jesse situation because people are blathering about and shit like that is making headline news. And we got shit like this. What is happening? This is happening, people. I blame you, white women. White man, and this is a white woman who's doing this. This is a white woman who is doing this. Don't start looking crazy now, white women. Y'all voted for these yahoos. Y'all voted for these ass clowns to be in positions of power to make these types of decisions. And now you can't be looking crazy. You can't be looking like, oh, how is this happening? No, white women, you made this happen. You did this. Well, I blame you for this, white women. You did this. Hmm. Oh, yes. I told you, we've been screaming this for well over a year. The country is on the verge of civil war. I keep telling y'all, they over here worried about what's going on over in Ukraine. We on the precipice of our own goddamn civil war over here. Child, her name is Representative Mary Elizabeth Coleman. If you need her, I don't know if you live in a great state of Missouri. Just know this is happening. Now, the law is making its way, making its rounds through committees, and I'm sure it'll reach their House and their Senate at some point. Or, well, I know it'll probably reach their House. We'll see if it gets to the Senate, but I just want y'all to know. In more abortion news in the great state of Missouri, Um, women, it would women who have ectopic pregnancies. And if you're not familiar with that, when women have an ectopic pregnancy, a lot of times they face not force, but they face serious complications which could result in them perhaps dying. But now it's illegal to have abortions. Um, if even if it's an ectopic pregnancy. Let me read this article. This is in the great state of Missouri. I told y'all this is happening. So, women who suffer dangerous complications from an ectopic pregnancy would be unable to get an abortion in Missouri if a restrictive law makes it to the governor's desk. A Missouri legislative panel on Wednesday considered a bill its Republican sponsor said is intended to clamp down on the trafficking of devices and drugs used to induce abortions. This bill is among a range of efforts by red state legislators across the country to restrict abortion rights in response a shift in response to a shift in the United States Supreme Court. But the committee raised concerns the bill could have unintended consequences and criminalize necessary medical procedures. Quote, this is what it looks like when uneducated politicians try to legislate our bodies, end quote. Dr. Colleen McNicholas, chief medical officer for Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region and Southwest Missouri, told Newsweek in a statement. Ectopic pregnancies, if not treated promptly, become life threatening. Banning any provision of care related to ectopic pregnancies will put people's lives at risk. Republican State Representative Brian Seitz told the committee he introduced House Bill 2810 in response to a ruling by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in December that allows women to order abortion pills through the mail. But 19 states are pushing back, he said. I want to be one of those states that protects women and the unborn. He said the bill is intended to prevent the sale or transfer of instruments, devices, and drugs for the purpose of, quote, inducing an abortion on any person in violation of state and or federal law, end quote. Seitz told Newsweek that his bill would not outlaw women from obtaining legal abortion-inducing drugs allowed by the FDA. Instead, he explained the bill is designed for situations where women are being trafficked for sex and their captors are seeking the drugs to end unwanted pregnancies. He pointed to the bill's provision making it illegal to obtain drugs for three or more women, adding that these abortions would be performed in unsafe, unmedical settings. The bill doesn't ban the manufacture or dispensing of drugs or devices used to perform an abortion. Those convicted under the bill could face felony charges. However, Democratic State Representative Carrie Engel pointed to a provision of the bill that she said criminalizes transferring devices or drugs to be used for ectopic pregnancies. An ectopic pregnancy is a complication that occurs when the fertilized egg implants and grows in a woman's body outside of the uterus, often in the fallopian tube. According to the Mayo Clinic, the fertilized egg can't survive and can cause internal bleeding and possibly death if it goes untreated. Um, and it goes on and on and on. So what we have here is them saying, yeah, y'all won't be getting no abortion medication in the mail either. Or we not only are we not going to give y'all no abortions, not only can you not get an abortion in the state, not only can you then not travel across state lines to get said abortion, you also cannot get an abortion by having medications and things mailed to you. And we don't care what reason you have to have that abortion. Now, the Republicans are saying, oh, well, we're just trying to protect because we know that people use the same medication that they use to treat ectopic pregnancies for abortions, and we're trying to stop that people for using it for the wrong reasons. Y'all see what's happening is these states are finding a way on their own to make abortions illegal. Whether or not, see, so the thing about it is the Supreme Court don't have to do nothing. They could just sit idly by and say, yeah, we're not going to be bothered with that. And just allow the states to nilly-willy do what they want to do. A mess. A goddamn mess. This is happening, people. This is happening. This is happening. Ladies, unfortunately, these people are making it their business to to decide what y'all can and cannot do with y'all bodies. Anyway, I'm gonna skip that story. I'm gonna go straight to our good story. We got a good story in the we have a good story now. If y'all recall, we've been speaking recently about how states have been making a gerrymandering and redistricting and making these redistricting maps that favor Republicans and so forth. So we got a good story or good update on that. Um, let me read this article. It comes from commondreams.org. Voting rights advocates in North Carolina and Pennsylvania celebrated a victory late Monday after the United States Supreme Court rejected district maps that had been approved by Republican-led state legislatures and that critics said would give the GOP an unfair advantage in the midterm elections. The ruling will allow voters in the two states, quote, to vote in free and fair congressional elections this year, end quote. Stanton Jones, an attorney who represented the voting rights groups that challenged North Carolina's gerrymandered map, told the New York Times. I told y'all be talking about Texas and Florida, it'd be North Carolina. That's why I always put North Carolina in that holy trinity, because North Carolina is about that life. And North Carolina doesn't get the publicity and notoriety that Florida and Texas does, because Florida and Texas's governors want to be seen. North Carolina's governor don't care about this. He just cares about these things happening, and he just cares about being as racist and bigoted and just being an obstructionist and just being one of the worst human beings on the face of the planet. Chat. Anyway, Republicans in North Carolina had asked the High Court to restore a previously drawn map that gave the GOP at least 10 out of the state's 14 U.S. House seats, even though the state's voters are roughly evenly split between the two major political parties. Instead, the court ruled 6-3 in favor of a replacement map that was approved last month by the state Superior Court. The new map was drawn by a nonpartisan panel of experts on redistricting and gives the Democrats and Republicans 6 likely safe seats, while 2 more will be more competitive. So Republicans, y'all got y'all 6, Dems, y'all got y'all 6, and 2 others of them, y'all gonna have to fight those out. Those would be purple, which makes sense. Okay, run your race, do what you got to do. Voting groups argue that the Republicans who asked the Supreme Court to block the use of the new map were violating states' laws against partisan redistricting. And it goes on and on and on. Now, it was a 6-3 vote. Who did not vote? Who voted against this? Let me tell you who those justices are. Justice Samuel Alito, Justice Clarence Thomas, of course, and Justice Neil Gorsuch. They wrote in a dissenting opinion that they believe the North Carolina map would have been blocked because should have been blocked because the state Supreme Court may have violated the Constitution by overruling state lawmakers. While ruling with the majority, Justice Brett Kavanaugh said in an opinion that the court should take up that question in a later session. That's why I say, hold on, this ain't done yet, because Brett Kavanaugh basically said, I'm going to vote against this now, but try again, and I might, be able to come on round. So that is some good news. And that may, like I said, that may, and this applies to both Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Let me see if I can tell y'all what was going on in Pennsylvania. It was basically the same thing in Pennsylvania. Um, where they hired an outside group that was nonpartisan to create redistricting maps. And so the Republicans wanted it where the map would be more red. I mean, if you look at a Pennsylvania map, it is almost completely red outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And everything else in between, Philadelphia is over here on the east, Pittsburgh's over here on the west. Everything in between is pretty much red. And so they were trying to make that a little more fair. So yeah, that's good news. I would spend a lot more time on that, but since this is not the politics of it all, I'm not gonna go in on that. Um, I believe this is my last story of the day. Yeah, we have to go to great state, my great state of Florida. Yeah, yeah, it's always us. It's always us. All right, let me read this for you all. This is for all of you. I believe the children are our future proponents. I don't believe the children are our future anymore. 5 Florida middle school students arrested and charged with hate crimes. Um, 5 Florida middle school students have been charged with hate crimes for allegedly participating in a quote racially motivated crime, reported NBC News. They're facing battery charges after attacking a group of white students and spouting racial slurs. Per NBC's report, 4 white children between 11 and 12 years old were punched and kicked by a group of Lions Creek Middle School students Wednesday morning. The incident occurred across the street from the school at the Coconut Creek Recreation Center. According to the arrest reports, the students approached the victims, yelled, quote, "It's opposite day," and, quote, "brain power," then beat them. The arrests report noted that the comments were being made before and during the alleged attack. The student said that a student said that he was approached by a group of kids unprovoked who said to him, "You are white," the arrest report said. He was then tackled to the ground by one student, which, quote, subsequently allowed the group of middle school students to start hitting him with their hands, feet, and phone chargers, according to the report. The police report also stated one victim was hit with a stick and charger cord. Another victim told NBC Miami he was targeted because he was white in a sort of reparations tactic. Quote, "After they jumped me, they said this is like revenge for what they did in the 1700s for slavery," end quote, said the child via NBC. The school district has since responded in a statement saying they will work to provide a, quote, "safe and secure learning environment," end quote, and ensure that any off-campus incidents do not impact students at the middle school, per NBC's report. However, one of the parents of the victims believed the school can't do much because the incident didn't happen on school property. Police, however, moved swiftly to arrest 4 of the 5 students. The 4 have been charged with battery and evidence of prejudice while committing a hate crime, reported NBC. Police say they will work with school officials to make sure the, quote, suspects are appropriately dealt with, end quote. Thank you, Diamond Pearl Jim, for your super chat. No silly Saturday, serious Saturday. Good job. Well, we are still being silly, I think. This is middle school. Oh, yes, this is middle school. So here's what happened. Danny. We got middle school students that are not white that went and said, "Hey, it's opposite day," and they went and beat up the white middle school students. And according to the white middle school students, they're saying that this is the one. Let me read it for you. The white middle school student that got beat up said, after they jumped me, they said this is like revenge for what they did in the 1700s for slavery. Here's where the problem is going to come in. Now, these students, now it didn't say the ethnicities or races of the students that committed the crime, but it appears that they were not white. So that means that they were either Hispanic or black or other. First, the actions of those kids is awful, egregious, and should absolutely, without any equivocation, warrant disciplinary action, warrant whatever, consequences and penalties that go with that. Because it's a hate crime. We don't want it done on us, and neither should it be done on them. We don't want it done to anybody. However, with that being said, I can foresee the effects of this, meaning they are going to pounce on this story and utilize this to sign off on more things like what they allege is CRT. This is going to be one of those, see what I mean? They're teaching kids that they're wrong for being white, and that's why you can't have this being taught in school. Really? Yeah, you gotta see this coming. They're gonna have some poor white child that's gonna be on that television screen weaponizing themselves with their tears, and baby, it's gonna be off to the races. Off to the races. What Shawnee said, I would have felt bad if I didn't just read about white kids in North Carolina holding a slave auction this week. I saw that. I started to talk about that. I saw that slave auction that they had in North Carolina. I told y'all North Carolina be about that life. Y'all let me see if I can pull back up that North Carolina slave auction story, because that's a whole situation too. If y'all want me to do this North Carolina slave auction story, let me know. I'll try to pull it up. Um, the story. Um, and if y'all want me to look that story up. Anyway, um, because I saw that story and I was like, y'all gotta be freaking kidding me. Um, so my point is, because like I said, those kids are wrong. Absolutely get authorities involved. Now I do know that um in the state of Florida, a school is responsible for a child until the time that they enter their domicile. So if anything happens to a child, even after school, even after they've left the school is still responsible for them until they enter their residence, or they get home. Once they get home, that's it. But the school is responsible for them until that time. So the school is responsible if, even if this didn't happen on school ground, like they say it happened across the street or it happened at a rec center or whatever, the school is still responsible. For that action. So that's why the school can make that statement, because they have to, because they know legally they are responsible. Um, and absolutely, those kids need to face whatever repercussions that go along with that. Absolutely, and the parents need to be involved with those repercussions as well, so that the parents can understand that you just can't have your kids out here bullying and fighting people and beating people up and accosting people and committing hate crimes. Okay. But it's so quick. I see how quick y'all are to say that this is a hate crime involving this white person. But a lot of times when it's stuff involving black people or marginalized communities, y'all ain't so quick to call it a hate crime. I mean, you got to move heaven and earth for it to be called a hate crime at that point. I also hate what this is, like I said, the effect that this is going to have on proponents of do away with quote CRT or teaching of real American history because they're going to say, oh, see, this is what happens. Really? We'll see what happens. This happened, and listen, this happened in South Florida, Broward County to be exact. Um, so we'll see. This happened in Broward County, South Florida. We'll see what happens. And I keep telling y'all, Broward County is the bluest of blue counties in the state of Florida. So we'll keep you posted. Here's the slave auction one from North Carolina. A school district in Chatham County, North Carolina, has found itself embroiled in controversy after a mother claimed that her son was sold by classmates at a mock slave auction. In a March 4th Facebook post, parent Ashley Palmer, March 4th was last week, mind you, said her son had experienced a slave auction by his classmates at J.S. Waters School in Goldston, North Carolina, in which another student served as slave master and her son went for $350. She went on to claim that she had a video of students harmonizing the N word, reported Emily Sugarman. Quote, since when were children so blatantly racist? Since the dawn of this country? Why is this culture acceptable? She wrote in the post, which is which was first reported by the Raleigh News and Observer. Quote, parents teach your kids that this behavior isn't okay. Teach them also that silence is complicity. Laughter is even worse, end quote. According to the report, Superintendent Dr. Anthony Jackson vowed that, quote, those who are acting outside of our expectations will be held accountable, end quote. And the students who held the slave auctions were suspended. However, according to Palmer, the school has not responded to the racist video, and the slave master classmate hit her child with a baseball after his return to school. That's basically the whole article. This is what y'all got going on. This is what y'all got going on. Baby, baby shark. Do. This is what y'all got going on. Ciao. Middle school children in Maryland broadcast on SM that they were going to kill black students at their school. Some had fake guns, one had a real gun. They have been arrested. Wow. That's why I say when y'all be like, I believe the children are our future. No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They learn these behaviors from home, from their parents. But yet you want parents to have complete control on what's taught in school so as to have these things proliferated and never have these children be taught tolerance, never have these children to be taught diversity and inclusion. A mess. A mess. A damn mess. A mess. That's all I got for y'all today. Anyway, um, for those people who are interested, I told y'all, I am one of the administrators of a rather large Facebook group that has several tens of thousands of members. who watch and follow Tyler Perry's Ruthless. Hey, MBN. And the episodes came out, 3 episodes came out on Thursday, and we're going to have a panel discussion on that tonight at 6 p.m. Excuse me. Ruthless is my guilty pleasure. I will not lie. I do watch. That's like the only Tyler Perry show. I don't watch nothing else. I used to watch Have and Have Nots, but Have and Have Nots is not on anymore. But I do watch Ruthless. And so we're going to have a panel discussion at 6. And so I believe that we'll probably have some of the people from the Facebook page on there. But anyway, we're going to do the panel discussion so that we can post the panel discussion in the Facebook group. So I'm not sure how many people from the Facebook group are going to come over here, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, that's happening at 6 tonight. Um, so if y'all want to come around for that, you can. For those people who might watch it. Um, yeah. Anyway, hey L Love. I ain't even see you sneak up in here, L Love. Hey my love. That's all I got for y'all today. It's been real, it's been fun. I'm hungry. It's cold outside. Y'all, it is real cold outside. Real cold. That's why I'm all bundled up. It's like 20 degrees, 20 something degrees this morning. Anyway, I need to go get me something to eat. And yeah, I don't got hungry. Anyway, I think I want some crabs today. I think I might go get me some crabs today. Y'all think I should get some crabs today? I might. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Until next time, as I always say, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal present and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They are much obliged and much appreciated. I appreciate and love all of my members. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, mods, for holding me down. So yeah, y'all know, we'll do what we do. We'll be back. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. We